I want to open up for questions for Coach Painter. Brian, go ahead and get started.
Matt, I know job one was keeping them out of transition. It wasn't the turnover volume as much as it was the points off turnovers, right?
Yeah, that really hurt us, obviously. Tough to scheme and walk through, 4-on-3 breaks and 3-on-2 breaks and lobs, and had to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. Even though we didn't have an egregious number of turnovers, there were times they turned them into points, and we messed up some ball screen defense stuff that was on me, and they did a good job of getting some flip up lobs. And you can't go on the road and give up 10 dunks, and that's what they did. Our main focus was to keep them out of the paint and not let the ball get in there. And that's exactly what they did. But easier said than done. Hats off to them.
So Matt, what about the job Michigan State did? Braden still got a lot, and
Right.
Trey Kaufman and Ryan got a bunch, but seemed like they were more aggressive taking the ball out of their hands.
Yeah, just, Braden has to, when they get aggressive like that, it's exactly what he has to do, is get the ball out of his hands. And at times people do that, at times they don't. And we just got to do a better job of, when they get aggressive, not overdoing it, not over dribbling. But you have to give them credit. I thought they're bigs. It takes some work. They're bigs. We'll keep re-screening it and doing it multiple times just to try to drag those bigs out and try to create a pocket or try to create somebody diving or somebody from behind with it. But I thought they were active. He's always got good role definition with his bigs. They're physical. They rebound. He runs them in. Runs them in and out right there and keeps them fresh. And but kind of look at the numbers. Fiddler and Zappala and the guys. They impacted the game. They were a part of the game. Obviously, Cohen, Carr, and Cooper get those lob dunks, and they did a good job also. But hats off to them. They were better than us.
You set Braden down at one point. Was that to communicate something to him that you weren't able to communicate?
Yeah, just give him a break. Obviously, he was frustrated right there, and just kind of try to settle down and try to make a push there late in the game.
Can you go into a little more detail on you saying that the ball screen defense that was leading to the half-court lobs? What exactly was it?
Yeah, no, not the half-court lobs, but just not staying into the basketball. So if you don't have any pressure on the ball, and then you pull your low man over and you stop that lob, now you got to have pressure on that basketball. Either you get it from the big there, or you get it from the guard, and sometimes both, right? And now you pull your low man to stop that, but then you hope you have enough pressure where you can just skip it over. And if they get away from you and you don't stay into the basketball right there, now he's a free passer, and then that's how he got lobs and passes out there. But to me, that was on me because we didn't drill that enough. And that's not a lot of stuff. They don't get that a lot. They get a little bit. They don't get it a lot. Tonight they got it a lot. They found something, they stuck with it.
And you kind of mentioned that a little bit there with that, particularly Holland seemed like he was able to get Northlands out. I'm wondering about that, and then also that 10-0 run and Carr's dunk on the Richardson pass.
Yeah.
How much of a game changer was that?
Yeah, that was a big game changer. Just, we're up 26-20 if we're talking about the same. When he dunks 4 times, it's hard to know which dunk, right? Shit. Want me to tell 4 stories? Yeah, the one, if we're talking about in the first half, that right there, we had a little bit of a lead, and you want to go into the halftime with some momentum, and you want to start the second half and play well. And these guys have always been great at the start of the second half, and that's what I felt like, even with what happened, and they made that push and made that run at the end of the first half. If we can come into that first media timeout in the second half and be the same way, I thought we could be okay. This is going to go down to the wire. Type of game, but we did it, and they took control of the game right then and there, and we had to do a better job. We had to execute better. We had to be better defensively than we were.
Sam.
Matt, it seems like some of your best players are letting the frustration boil over and causing mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys won state championships, never been in a situation in college where they've lost 3 games in a row.
Right.
How do you keep them level-headed, knowing that you still got a game this week later on that this can't trickle into the next game?
Right. Yeah. You don't be emotional about it as a coach. You talk about practical things. You talk about. We started practice in June, so that we didn't start this last week. So you're working on things from June until now. Then you have people that are returning that are in your program, so they understand what we work on and what we teach, and we can't get off of it. We can't. But good teams get you off of it. A lot of times you hear a coach talk and his knee-jerk reaction and how he speaks. is my team didn't do this, my team didn't do that. Well, a big part of that is the other team, and you got to give them credit. Like they played better than us, but the turnovers for us, like, and that's something like as you guys have covered us. Like we just can't have the live ball turnovers that we've had here, and we don't have our numbers not huge, right? But we got to be better. That's got to be a start for us. And then, like I said earlier, like we got to do a better job of just handling some actions and defending some things. But also coaching-wise, like we got to give our guys a better chance. And it's been an adjustment for us across the board. Like we don't have rim protection. When it gets there, it's not good. We got to keep it out of there. So we got to do a better job as a staff. I can't help them when they turn it over and get in transition. Like I have nothing for them, right? You got to take care of the basketball.
Was that one of the reasons you put Will in, was just to have a bigger body?
Just to have a bigger body. I thought he did a good job. And then we went from an offensive standpoint and tried to put shooters around Trey in the second half, so I didn't play him or Raleigh in that second half. But you see the punch that Cam gives us when he looks to shoot. He's got to be ready to shoot the basketball. I thought he passed up on about 3 threes that he should have took tonight. And obviously he goes 2 for 3. I thought he should have took about 3 more threes that he had open right there, because that offensive kind of matchup for us with Trey at the 5, and we put a lot of people that can shoot up there, that really puts people in binds. It really puts guys in binds.
The back first.
Matt, we saw your comments about Tom in the tribute video.
Right.
You know what Gene did for 25 years, you're a big part of that, you're gonna blow by that. But for somebody to do what Izzo has done, 42 years at the same place, what does that say?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like I compared. I think they cut me off in the video, which is probably a smart decision to cut me off. I compared it to Joe DiMaggio's 56-game, hit streak, and obviously it still stands, right? Like it's just one of those things that you just. And for me, it's a lot different. He recruited me. I'm 54, so it means he's old. When he was an assistant here, and so I've known him for a really long time, and he's done it the right way. He's worked it. It's hard, man. Like battling like everybody else in competition, but also battling your own people. I think people don't understand that the people that support you battle also, because when you raise your expectations and you go to 8 Final Fours and 10 Big Ten championships, like people expect that. Like as a coach, what people expect from you is your best year. So if he doesn't win the national championship, win the Big Ten, he's shit, right? And we all know he's really good, right? And so, but that's if you can't handle that, then you shouldn't coach. Treat people the right way, work hard, do the best that you can, but understand, it's a game of basketball, right? But he's been able to take that and change a lot of people's lives and help people through opportunities. It's still, besides maybe like the Army or the Navy it's still, somebody getting a scholarship has changed more lives than anything out there. Somebody getting that opportunity to start their life and having an advantage. And sports can help you so much, but also you got to have discipline in life. You got to have it. And he's obviously has discipline, and he's on people, but he cares about them. And that's something we always talk about. We don't yell at people we don't care about. And he's the epitome of that. And he deserves everything, coming his way.
Is there something about losing Trey to fouls that destabilizes things?
Say that again?
Is there something about you having pulled Trey for fouls that kind of destabilizes things? The turnover started shortly after that.
Yeah, I don't know. You go back, that's one of those things, like you're kind of speaking in theory, that like you can kind of look at the game, like, he's been out before and we've gotten good shots and we've missed them. He's been out before and we haven't gotten good shots, and you're like, man, you got to, we don't lose the game at the end of the first half, right? But it didn't help us. It didn't help us. And that's why you saw me go offense, defense with you. And you'll see me do it with Braden when they get in that position, because they're just too valuable for us. Like, he's a threat. Like, if we can get him the ball in the right position, he doesn't double very much. And that's kind of the backhanded compliment from him. If he comes doubling or mixing up something different, he knows that player's really good. Trey's hard to deal with. Trey's got a good skill package. He's one of those guys like tonight, like it wasn't a great game for him. And he gets 24, and he goes 9 for 13 and 6 for 7. But, he's really worked hard to be a good player. But we gotta, whether we have guys in the game or not have guys in the game, we have quality players across the board. We gotta be better. We gotta be better whether that we're in foul trouble or we're not. And that's hard to say, because that's a hell of an environment. They're a good team. And they're jockeying just like we are to try to win the Big Ten championship, and it's, it means something. Go ahead. You got it. Go ahead.
When it comes to this year's Michigan State team, how does this compare to maybe some of the different teams Tom's had that you've seen him coach?
Well, I don't think it has star power, and that just that gives that's a compliment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to play shortstop and lead off. Akins is their leading scorer, but Jace Richardson has probably got the biggest upside. He does have the biggest upside. And they have good players, like Fears, for what he came back from, and the toughness. I actually recruited his dad. And so they have really good pieces. They have a good team. It fits together. Sometimes they've had more talent and their record's been less, right? Sometimes they've had more talent and their record's been great. So I think that's the kind of the key. You can see that they're playing for each other and they're sacrificing for each other. And when you have different guys like Zappa, Frankie Fiddler, let me grab some more here, that come into their program, they just want to win, man. I want to get the NCAA tournament. I want to win the Big Ten, go to a Final Four. You're hungry for it because you haven't been on that stage and you haven't been there. Well, the other guys now, their roles expand and they get better, whatever, but they're not off the charts. You can kind of see him. He's always done a good job with bringing guys in and out and trying to wear you down, but you got to buy into it. I think that's probably the best word from my perspective, not anything he has said to me. From just watching, it just looks like they got 100% buy-in. And that's what you want as a coach, because it's hard to get to that point. It's hard to get through roles, to that point with everybody on your team. And I like guys to be a little bit on edge. I want them to want more, you know what I mean? But I also want them to trust me, just like I trust them, that I'm going to do what's best for Purdue. It's not always going to be best for them.
Two more, Nathan and Israel.
You had a lot of contributions from Fletcher tonight that weren't shooting, but are you getting the volume of shooting you want from him, and how much of that goes on what they're doing well and what?
Yeah, well, I thought, he played a good floor game. He has 5 assists and 1 turnover. He tried to, be aggressive there. And a couple times, he picked it up and made nice plays and made a nice pass to Will in the first half. They're going to take that away. And that's a tough thing. We tried to run a couple actions to get him off of it. One, he gets a 3 out of it. But, no, he's very experienced. He's a good player. And, we had to play better to open up things for him. We got to play better. We just do it, and we'll get back to it. We'll just keep working. But no, Fletch is great.
What were you guys able to find, after they went on that big run in the second half? You were talking to him, looked like you were telling him to slow it down, but you didn't call timeout. So what were you able to figure out?
Yeah, you need to, you just don't want to burn. I called 2 in the first half. You just don't want to. You don't want the game to be over right there. So if a timeout, you get to that point. I think it was 10, and then we got 13, I think. And then we made a play. I think Cam made a 3. Right? So it gets cloudy for me sometimes in remembering exactly how the sequences go. But that's it. You're in a dilemma right there. Do we really have to burn one right here, and then to slow the roller? Can we show some toughness here and execute it? But it's also hit and miss, right? You make one, they quiet down. Now hopefully you can get a stop and go make it and try to get a little bit of a run there. But you're in a dilemma there as a coach. I've called it before, and then later on said man, now late in the game I need one, and I burned it, right? And then I've left it alone, and then all of a sudden we turned it over twice. They hit 2 threes, and it's 16 to 19 points, and that's a wrap. And so you're always going to second guess, and it's just one of those calls. You just got to hopefully make the right call in the situation.
One more.
Coach, to go back to something that you said earlier, what's it like to game plan against a team that doesn't necessarily have that go-to player that anybody on any given night can score 10 on points?
Yeah, it's one of those things that's great, and then sometimes when you get late in games, it's not great, right? Because you want that dude, right? You want that guy that you can get the basketball to that's going to get your team a shot and get himself a shot if he gets stuck. Because sometimes you'll get with certain guys where if they can't deliver, now they're stuck. But yeah, from a game plan, it's a good question. From a game plan standpoint, now everybody's good. Think about let's use Jackson Kohler. He had 9 and 4, but his best game he played was the last game. Jace Richardson last week just had a humongous game, and obviously we know the talent and the ability that that he has. But across the board, they have a lot of solid pieces. Then they have a couple guys that are kind of emerging still. Some of those young guys are emerging. And then Akins, I think Akins, if anybody is the guy, he needs to be that. But it's just a credit to him that when he's not, it's cool and they're winning, right? Like that's what you want, like no matter what, like that. Because that just makes his teammates better and it makes him better. But yeah, sometimes it's tough, like when you know, like when you come and face us, right, you know our top two dudes, like, hey, let's get this or whatever. And then we play off of those guys a lot. And he's had teams like that, right? You know, when you get guys that get themselves to that level, where they're first, second team type all conference guys, you know, most of us, you know, we do everything in our power to help those guys because they'll get the attention, and if they can be distributors and passers, now everybody can eat, right? Trey Kaufman got caught up a little bit a couple times, but when you see us getting that pocket pass there, if he just pauses, he's got that shovel shot, he's got the kick out, he's got the dump down, he's got the spray out the other side. Now that's contagious when your best players are passers.